What's up, gamers, nerds, and people with no friends like me? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. The question I'm talking about today is, can you play Dungeons and Dragons and all other tabletop role-playing games that are like Dungeons and Dragons by yourself, solo? And the answer is yes, absolutely you can. And it doesn't mean you have no friends. And it isn't necessarily boring. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. It always kind of cracks me up when I post on like Facebook groups and I say, oh, in my solo game, there's always somebody who says, solo? You can do that? You can play by yourself? Yes, you can. And if that interests you, hopefully you find this video. There's also always somebody who says, isn't that just writing a book? And no, it's not. Not at all. Not at all for me. I don't play that way at all. I'm not a writer. I play it like a game where the dice decide a lot of the stuff. Anyway, a lot of solo players do play it like writing a book. So it's not fair for me to say, no, it's not like that. It's not like that for me. The other thing that I get a lot is, I already kind of joked about it. You don't have any friends? Go to a local gaming store, find a group there. Well, it's not that I can't find a group. For some people, they might turn to solo because they can't find a group. But I actually want to play solo and I enjoy it. And it is for a lot of people. Probably 80 to 90% of gamers are not into it. Just couldn't fathom that that's gonna be fun to play the game by yourself. So if you're one of those, you probably didn't even find this video to begin with. But if you did, you can probably leave because nothing I can say is going to suddenly make it fun. But if you're watching this going, ooh, I didn't know you could play by yourself. That sounds kind of cool. Then, check it out because it is possible. Oh, what did I do here? My notes, I lost them. I don't need notes. I've always known that I liked playing games by myself. When I was a kid, I was making up dice games to play baseball cards. I'd open up 2 packs of baseball cards and those are my 2 teams. I'd make a lineup and I had rules for if this guy got a hit against this pitcher and what kind of hit, and I'd play the whole game. That was my first solo dice game. Then I always got like Dungeons and Dragons books and I read them and I wanted to play, and I was like, oh, man, I wish you could play by yourself. I didn't know as a kid and even 20s 30s that you could do that. I did figure out a way when the minis game came out, and there was it was a skirmish game. You'd open up booster packs and make a team, and your buddy makes a team and you fight. Well, I figured out that I could make a team of heroes for myself, and these were my party, and we'd fight kobolds, and if we beat the kobolds, somebody would level up in my group, and then we'd fight goblins, and if we beat them, I'd roll for treasure. And so it was a campaign that I was playing. So yeah, that was my first foray into solo gaming. But then I was like, I want to play like the whole game, like Dungeons and Dragons, explore the dungeons, all of that. So anyway, the backbone for most solo players is an oracle system. Mythic is a very popular oracle system. The best way I can describe an oracle system is, remember when we were kids, we had the magic 8-ball and you'd ask it a question, a yes or no question. You shake that sucker up and you say, does that cute girl Jenny in my home ec class, does she think I'm cute too? And you read it and it says, not fucking likely. And you're like, oh man, shot to the heart. And you go, well, does she at least think I'm funny? And you shake it up and you read it and it says, keep dreaming, loser. Like the magic 8-ball was an oracle. In fact, I gotta see if they have one on Amazon. You could literally use that as your oracle system and play a Dungeons and Dragons game with it. The idea is anytime the dungeon master would make a choice, you ask the oracle instead. Shadow Dark, Solo Dark, has a very simple oracle system. You roll a d20, and actually the magic 8-ball, it's actually a dice. It's a die in there, right? and it spins and it gives you a side that has the answer. That's funny. So anyway, I'll tell you the Shadow Dark one, the Solo Dark one first. You roll a d20. On a 1 to 9, the answer is no. 11 to 20, the answer is yes. 10 is a twist, which I'm not going to get into right now, but something else might happen too. So I'm just going to say, is there goblins near? 14. Yes. So, okay. Combat commences with goblins, right? Like, let's say I rolled a 3. That's a no. But an odd number also means a but or and. So I might interpret that as no, but there are goblins. They're just a little further away. They're not an immediate threat. Or I might think no, but there are orcs, or there's some other threat nearby. So that's one example of how you use the Oracle system. The other thing, and Mythic has this, anything with an Oracle system is also going to have these it's like keywords to give you an idea which direction to go. So I often will use this. One example would be if I'm playing a solo game and we run into an NPC, we run into some character. My question might be, what motivates that character? And I would roll, and it is going to be 43, imprison. All right, that's interesting. The public, imprison the public. So depending on the scenario, I might interpret that they are trying to get people to follow them, or they're trying to trap people and literally imprison them. That probably, in simplest terms, that's probably an enemy if we encounter them in a dungeon or whatever. So then I might roll out on all these other charts to find out what race and, and all, or ancestry and all that other jazz. What else do we want to cover here? That's kind of the core of what you can do. You can play, like I said, D&D, Shadow Dark, Pathfinder, all kinds of different games. You can play all kinds of different styles. I tend to do dungeon crawls, kick down the door, fight the bad guys, take their treasure. I also will do hex crawls. I'm currently playing a hex crawl on my YouTube channel, Terra Invictus. It's super fun. Trevor Duvall of Me, Myself, and Die. This is the first video you should probably watch if you're interested in solo. Go look at his first video. He's very into the role-playing aspect. He'll do like voices for the characters and all that. It's awesome. You can play you can play with one character. You can play with a full party. You can take an existing module like Keep on the Borderlands and play through that. You can play, some of the games are set up for solo play, some adventures, kind of like a choose your own adventure, like the old books we read as kids too. That's a popular way to do it. I kind of like a more open world. You can develop dungeons on the fly. Shadow Dark has a pretty awesome system for that. Like, you can literally just roll what's in this room. You go into the dungeon. What's in the first room? Might be monster, might be treasure, might be an NPC, might be a trap. And then I go, okay, let's say you're playing 5e. Okay, let's do perception checks and see if we notice that trap. Let's see if we can disarm that trap. You're rolling on your skills. And then you just carry it out like that. If there's a combat, you roll for initiative. You control both sides and you fight. You gain your experience and your treasure. There's not a limit to how it can be done, but it absolutely can be done. And it's not for everyone, but it is for some people. It's, it's super fun. I enjoy solo play at least as much as playing in a group, partly because you can make it exactly how you want it. So I can play my style. There's a lot of times I'm in a group and I'm like, we're doing something and I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing. I went along with the group, or, the whole session goes by with no combat, and I tend to like the combat best. So you can play it however you want, which is super cool. So I strongly encourage you to give it a try if you have any interest. There's plenty of great books and resources out there. Mythic is a great starting point. Shadow Dark is a great game to try it. Yeah, get out there and play with yourself. Play by yourself. Have fun.